I realize that I have never really properly introduced myself on this channel. And maybe I never will. Maybe I'll just let you get to know me over time. This particular video features 5 aspects of my life or of my character that you should probably know if you plan on subscribing and continuing to watch my videos. A bit of insight to my personality and how I came to live a soft life. But before we talk about that, I have to have a conversation with my daughter.
You know, this girl has been accused of doing any and every sort of thing. Mm-hmm. People don't really try to get to know people. They just go by what they hear. Mm-hmm. And, you know, now she's just being like, you know what? I'm just going to be candid. Mm-hmm. You've already accused me of being all these things. Right. And as somebody who has been there, mm-hmm. you know, I totally get where she's coming from.
And my thing is because, like, she's 40 years old.
Mm-hmm. Grown.
At the time she was 40. She's grown. You know, she can do that.
You know.
It's not like Pete was like, no, clearly.
It's so funny, though, how people act like they're not doing far worse behind closed doors.
Right.
You know, it's like, let's put a camera on your life and see, you know, how innocent you are.
But a lot of the men are.
Oh, of course.
Like,
you know.
I was all like, this is some hoe-ish. And I'm all like, she was literally married for the last, 7 years?
But, you know, men can have side chicks and try chicks and all of that, and that's okay. But, you know.
That's what a lot of the women are saying, which is why they're supporting it, because they know men are going to just start attacking her. So it's nice to see some solidarity between us.
Between women. We should do more of that. We really should. You gotta love my daughter. I really thought I was going to come in here and spend some time with you guys and tell you a little bit about myself. 5 things you should know about me. And one of them is that I don't want to be strong anymore, but I'll get into that. It's kind of ironic, though, because one of the things you should know about me is that I worry incessantly about my loved ones, my children, my other family members. My parents are both deceased. My brother and sister that I grew up with, that I had a close bond with, are both deceased. My sister passed away from COVID. Her children are left here. My brother's children are left here. I have other brothers and sisters who I don't really have a relationship with. So the people that were the closest to me growing up are all gone. And I don't want to lose anyone else. So I worry and I pray and I pray and I pray for the safety of my children and my friends and my loved ones and my family, because although it's more than likely inevitable that I will lose someone one day, and some of my family members make it seem more likely than not sometimes, I still worry, and I have a strong faith, and that is what has kept me. However, I'm a little bit over worrying so much about people who don't really worry about themselves. What I mean by that is I'm over worrying about people who make poor decisions in their lives, and then they need a bailout, or they want other people to understand, or they want you to help them through it. And I want so much to help people in my life through things, but I also want them to make better decisions. When I was a young married mom, I made poor decisions, but one of the things I never really expected was for anyone else to fix it for me. And while I did reach out for help, I learned very early on that at the end of the day, I have to live my life in a way that will make my life better, not worse. I had to stop being my own stumbling block. I had to stop putting myself in positions that were going to hinder my growth. And once I committed in my early 20s to stop doing those things and to grow up, I saw a world of difference in my life. And even worrying about the people in my life and wanting so much better for them and trying to will good for them. And it's partially selfish because when the people in my life hurt and when they go through things and when they're suffering, I suffer too. And I don't believe we were put here to suffer. I believe that we are to endure some suffering, but that's not what this whole experience is about. I was having this conversation with my husband earlier this morning when we first woke up, and he said something very profound. He does that sometimes. He said, "You cannot plan for other people's disaster." That's still hitting me like a ton of bricks. Because you know what? We can't. As much as we want to save the people around us, as much as we want to will good for their lives, as much as we want to manifest for them what we've manifested for ourselves, as much as we want to be that safety net for them, at the end of the day, they have to want that for themselves. So that's something that you should know about me. I'm a worrier, but you know what? I'm also going to lay those burdens down. So let me just tell you what I did for my morning routine. I'm getting ready to go to the coffee shop. I wanted to tell you about this look today and what I did this morning, because one of the things that I'm trying to do, and this is the second thing you should know about me, is I am the most organized, disorganized person you'll ever meet. I have pockets of organization that are stellar. I put my keys in the same place no matter what. And usually the common areas of my house are almost pristine, because you never know when you're going to have company, and because we share those areas. Usually. Not so much in my personal spaces, and not so much with my own things, which kind of bleed out sometimes into my husband's space and is a point of contention for us. But you should know that about me. So because I'm not the most organized person, but I am an organized person, I kind of toe the line between chaos and clarity a lot. And that's something you should know about me too. In fact, I'm a little off balance right now, and I forgot what I was saying. But I know that I was going to tell you about my morning routine. That's what it was. I knew I was going to tell you about my morning routine. I do have a bit of a morning ritual. I do morning rituals. I wouldn't necessarily say they're routines, but I'm trying to get into more routine just because I think it's good for you. But right now I have like categories, and I saw this great TikTok about it. And if I find it, then it will be in this video. I will put it in this video. But if I don't, maybe I can kind of paraphrase it a little bit. We'll see. But it's basically like having tiers to your morning routine. And that is something I'm going to consider. I saw it the other day, and I was like, maybe that can help me be a little more regimented. Because I think that when you are a little more regimented, life goes a lot more smoothly. And when you talk about living a soft life, a gentle life, a slow life, an intentional life, when you talk about those things, you know, even one of my commenters, someone commented in my comments, you know, that is luxurious to them. That is the definition of slow living. I totally agree. Having the organization, so that you know where things are and your life moves smoothly and you're not just stumbling through life. A lot of us do that. And I think that the key to a slow life is being organized. So I started off this morning with, let's start with last night, because that will give you a better picture. I subscribed to hers, and I have a tretinoin niacinamide solution, Retin-A, that I put on my face, prescription Retin-A. That's what I use at night. So last night was a Retin-A night. So if I do Retin-A at night, I don't want to do anything really harsh to my skin the next day. I have to give the products a chance to work, and I don't want any irritation. So the next day I'm usually pretty easygoing on my skin. So this morning I started off with a niacinamide booster because I'm worried about texture, and I have it on good authority that niacinamide helps with texture. This is something new. I didn't know this, but there's niacinamide in my Retin-A, which I wasn't very happy about, but now maybe it's not such a bad thing. So I used the Paula's Choice niacinamide booster this morning. That was the first thing I put on my face. I did not put water on my face this morning. Typically I you know, if it's been a night, I might splash my face. I might not. I might just, you know, kind of wipe down my face. I don't always take a cleanser and wash my face in the morning. Started with a niacinamide booster, and then I moved on to my Haru Wonder black rice toner. I love hydrating toners, especially Korean ones. I think that has contributed to the health of my skin. So I like that. And then I followed that with a Royal Propolis, another hydrator for my skin. And then I just did those 2 steps just to like get some, you know, hydration into my skin. And then I used my Biossance physical sunscreen today because it has zinc and squalane, which are both really good for keeping acne at bay. For squalane is a moisturizer, so I didn't have to use a separate moisturizer. And then my new products, which I recently got from Sephora. I used the Denesamyrix. I'll put it on the screen. It's a glow product. It's beautiful, and it's like a primer, but it's also a serum. And I used it for the first time today underneath really just concealer and powder. You know, you saw me earlier putting on my concealer, but under concealer and powder. And it's a great primer. And that glow that you see, it's really coming from that product. And then I did the concealer step, which you saw. I did the powder step, which you saw. And then I have the Denesamyrix Color Fix on my lips. And it is a matte product. But right now, my lips don't feel dry. I also just have on mascara, the Dior mascara. I'm not sure of the exact name. And then I have the Dior eyebrow product. I don't do anything crazy with my brows. Usually I just use mascara. I don't have eyebrows, and I'm perfectly okay with the little bit of eyebrows that I have. I don't like drawing them on. I don't like them to look very rigid and structured. That look works for people. I am a thin eyebrow girl, and I don't want anybody to ever look at my face and they're like, oh, your brows. Nice brows. Like, no, I don't want that. Unless you're saying that my natural brows, and this is as close to natural as they can be, are nice, then I'll take that compliment. But other than that, I don't like a strong brow. If I'm going to do anything really strong on my face, it's always going to be, you know, with eye makeup, and maybe an occasional red lip. I love this, this lip product though. I have a hard time finding lip products that I really love. This is a nice one, and it is in the color chocolate, and it's beautiful. So I thought I would share that with you guys. And you've already learned your 2 things about me that go along not only with the philosophy of this video, but also that will give you a little bit of an introduction into who I am. In fact, I started off pretty heavy. I told you about my family and about how I'm not the most organized person, and that if I panned around right now, you would be like, girl, what's going on? Those are just some things you need to know here in this space, because I want this to be a space that is a safe space for sharing. I mean, I know it's one-sided because I'm doing most of the sharing, but you know, at some point, if I can build a community of people who just feel comfortable here, I might even do a live or 2 one day, just to hang out and talk while I'm doing my makeup. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'm there yet, but yeah, I think that's something that you need to know about me. The third thing that you need to know about me, if you haven't already figured out yet, is I love coffee. But it's not even just coffee. It's coffee shops. And that's where I'm headed to now. It's still kind of early. I like to sit outside at coffee shops. And if they're nice ones, I can sit there all day. I can sit inside of coffee shops and do my work. I like the ambiance of coffee culture. It is big with me. It is something that I have embraced. And even if I'm not having coffee, it's really all about the coffee shop. So we're just going to a local Starbucks today. I love Starbucks. I have a special place in my heart for Starbucks, but I am not 100% loyal to Starbucks. I can pretty much sit in any cute, clean coffee shop or outside of any cute, clean coffee shop, as long as the mood and the energy and the ambiance is right. It's one of my things. So I'm only sharing 5 things about myself in this video, and I suspect that at some point I'll do another one that will tell you 5 more things about me. But as time goes on, we'll get to know each other. And that's something, if you hadn't already picked up on, that is something you should definitely know. I am all about meeting for coffee. So if, you're in the area, or if you ever want to, just hit me up.
When I say I love coffee shops, I do not exaggerate. This is a beautiful Cuban coffee shop at the Wharf in the DC area. If I lived near this coffee shop, this would be my spot every day. But since I don't, I might only come here maybe once or twice a month. Parking is a nightmare. The Wharf is very touristy, and what you don't pay for your coffee and your food, you'll definitely make up for in parking.
So it looks like they're leaving. Do you want to? Well, only 2 of them got up.
The food's great, the coffee's great, ambiance. As the saying goes, it's a vibe. They're so sick of me. Oh well, the perils of being married or being the child of a content creator. Anyway, check out this food. All of the things that I should not be having, but willpower. So you should know that I didn't choose the soft life. The soft life definitely chose me. It chose me from the time I was a child because I had one of those mothers who was just elegant and who was a domestic goddess and beautiful. She was just one of those people who believed in taking care of home and family, but also pampering herself and making sure she always presented herself in a good light. And I know a lot of that rubbed off on me. But I fought it. There was a time where I thought that I had to have, high profile jobs, make a lot of money, mainly because the prevailing sentiment when I grew up was that you could be anything. You could be an independent woman and go out and do whatever you wanted to do. It was the precursor to the boss babe mentality now, to the hustle culture that we've created, unfortunately. The concept of gentle, soft, slow living was the furthest thing from anyone's mind back then. The last thing any woman wanted to do was be a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom. Nobody really wanted to do that at the time. And even though I married young and I had my children young and I turned out to be an amazing homemaker, in my opinion, I fought it tooth and nail for a long time. As soon as I was able to go to school and get my degree, as soon as I was able to start taking on jobs, I did. And I don't regret doing those things, but I was literally busy all of the time. I was in school. I would work part-time. When I graduated school, I eventually took on a couple of pretty high-profile jobs for the field that I was in. And I still had to take care of home. I still had to take care of family. I still had to take care of kids. I had to be a present mother and a wife. And because my husband was in the military, I also had to be a source of support in his career as well, believe it or not. It was a lot. And I wasn't happy doing it. And I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And it wasn't what I had planned for my life. But sometimes we bow to pressure. I have literally had people in my life, I wouldn't call them friends, but people in my life who didn't want to associate with me when I wasn't working, when I was wasn't working outside of the home, because stay-at-home moms and housewives always work. And you don't have to stay at home to live a soft life. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you should do work that you love. You shouldn't have to hustle. You shouldn't have to scratch and scrape and fight and climb the corporate ladder so hard in order to achieve some monetary goal, when really you want to be out planting your garden, and maybe you want to paint for a living, or maybe you just want to read books all day. The problem with that whole way of being is that work and making money and competition, all very masculine ideals, that became the priority, and not living your best life. Work is good. Work is wonderful. It pays the bills. It puts food on the table. It's noble, but it shouldn't be your ultimate goal, especially if you're not doing something that sets your heart on fire and brings you joy. So when I say I didn't necessarily choose the soft life chose me. Yes, I manifested a lot of how I live now, because I knew that I didn't want a boss, and I knew that I wanted to be able to do work that I loved and to work freely. But I didn't know what that looked like. And at the time, I didn't know that what I was doing was actually trying to live a soft life. I didn't know that that was even a thing. And one day, when my husband was able to, he asked me to quit my job. He asked me to quit my job because he never saw me, because I worked retail at the time and I was always at work. And we couldn't travel and we couldn't do fun things. And I was working when he wasn't, and he was working when I wasn't. And it wasn't ideal for our relationship or our family. But I thought I had to do it because I thought that was what I was supposed to be doing. And he said no. He said, I would love it if you would quit your job and follow your dreams. That was a blessing that may seem rare to a lot of people. It doesn't seem like that happens a lot, but I believe in my heart that it does. And I believe that any woman can manifest that or something like it for herself. You can have the experiences, you can have the love, you can have the joy, you can have the quiet moments, you can have that time to yourself to be introspective and really figure out what you really want. I honestly believe that your life does not have to revolve around hustle and bustle and busyness and fighting and scraping to get what you want. You just have to believe it. Getting ready to go to dinner tonight. And I had to tell you guys the fifth thing about me that you should know about me. I don't want to be called a strong Black woman. I don't. And I've heard other women say this, and I totally agree. As far as being a woman goes, I don't care if people think that I'm strong. I'm not strong. I am resilient. I am resourceful. And I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So I'm okay with not being strong. I don't mind being taken care of. I want my husband to open doors for me. I want him to pull out my chair. I want him to stand up when I get up from the table to go to the restroom. I want him to be a leader in my household. Yes, I want to be a team, but I want him to take charge, to be a protector. I want him to be the strong one. Because if he's being strong and protecting, and he is taking care of our family, that leaves me the space to be nurturing. Leaves me the space to be comforting. And it leaves me the space to be soft. Thanks for watching.